You'll see that little picture of Venerable Yonte in the corner. I copied this image from one of her videos on this practice. So it's just a copy and paste. That's why she's in the corner there. But some of you will be familiar with her because you did you did the DB1 with her. So anyway, let's just we're going to do about 25, well, around about 25 minutes of meditation to start the class. So let's say we're going to start with just bringing our awareness into the body. First thing we want to do when we meditate is try to bring our awareness more and more into the body inside, because generally we're caught up through the senses on a day-to-day basis, through the sense consciousnesses, a lot of activity that way. So what we want to try and meditate with is the mental consciousness. So I think Venerable Yontai may have touched on that. We have different sense consciousnesses and we have a mental mind consciousness. So that's what we're trying to meditate with, the mental consciousness. So what we do first to try and connect with that part of ourselves, the inner part of ourselves, mental continuum, we first of all just bring the energy into the body. So let's just start with being aware at the crown, bringing our awareness to the crown. And with awareness there, just take a couple of deep breaths, breathing in and just releasing any busyness of the day. Just do that 2 or 3 times. Breathe in, all through the body. And relax and release any tension. Again, inhale and breathe out and relax and release the busyness, any disturbance, anxiety, stress of the day. Just try and allow that to leave us on the out breath. And as we did last week, with breath and awareness, starting at the crown, and we do a scan of the body, breathing in and releasing, relaxing any tension as we go down through the crown, into the brow area. Just continue to breathe normally, but breathe into any tension as we move down the facial muscles, allowing breath and awareness to release and relax. Tension around the brow, facial muscles, eyes. Just let go, open and relax, as if we're giving ourselves a massage with breath and awareness. So as we move down the face, we're going to go further down into the neck and the shoulders. Again, breathing in through the skin, the atoms, the bone, the muscle, the blood. Just allowing breath to go into the different parts of the neck and the shoulders, finding, like a sort of spy or someone who's giving you a massage. They just go down and check for tension and use our breath and awareness to release and relax. And breathe out that stress or tension on the out breath. Let's go down the back of the body. Now, as we go down, we're going to dig out through the spine, skin, bone, and muscle through the spine there. Again, a few breaths. Just opening up the back, open up the shoulders, set them back, and breathing in and opening up space at the back of the body with breath and awareness. Move down the front of the body, and especially into the stomach area, where we often hold a lot of tension. Breathe in deeply into the stomach, through the skin, again through the muscles, the tissue, allowing breath and awareness to release and relax in that area. Just letting go of the stomach, allowing it to fall to its kind of natural place, not held in. And then through the hips. Again, however we're sitting, just being aware of the sensation on the cushion, the chair, and all around the hip area. Again, open, deep breath in, release and relax. Try to find a stability in the hips, but feeling relaxed at the same time. Just a few more breaths to go all the way down through the legs, the toes. So with awareness, we connect with our whole body. So again, with this meditation, we're bringing our mind away from the sense consciousnesses and inside to the mental consciousness that we meditate with. So now we're going to do what we call the 9-round breathing. So imagine with the breath and awareness that are somehow, with the breath, or all the atoms of our body have kind of dissolved or disappeared into space and light. And our body becomes more like more like a balloon. Clear and spacious inside, but still having a very thin skin, like a bubble or a balloon. It's what we call the hollow body. And inside that, as we see in the diagram, there's these different channels running alongside our spine, just in front of our spine. Don't worry too much if you can't see them. These are what we call the 3 main psychic channels in the body. They're all about the width of bamboo. The center one is made of blue light. It runs from the center of our eyebrows all the way up through our crown, like an umbrella, like the umbrella handle, down through our spine, and it reaches just a few finger widths below our navel. It's what we call the central channel of the body, the largest channel. Our subtle body is made of thousands, something like 72,000 channels. And these are the 3 main ones that we use in this meditation, generally in meditation. So on the right side, there's the red channel, as you can see in the diagram. So that goes from the tip of the right nostril, again, up like the handling umbrella, up, round through your top of your head, down to your crown, and again, down the side of the central blue channel. And it tucks into the bottom of the blue channel. Again, a few finger widths below our navel. And then the white channel on the opposite side, the left side. Again, tip of your nostril, going all the way up, like an umbrella, all the way down, just in front of your spine. And tucking in to the bottom of the blue channel, again, central channel. They all meet there, just below the navel, a couple of inches below the navel. So even if we can't see these lights, don't worry about that too much. The image, the diagram helps, maybe to try to visualize them. But we kind of just want to feel that there's some sort of energy around the center of the body. You know? The more we get in touch with that central channel, the central areas of the body, the more we're able to find our sort of natural inner posture. We're guided more by that than the outer points of the posture. But right now we need both. We definitely need a straight spine. And we need a stability in our grosser body to be able to develop this more inner body, you know, this inner awareness of what's going on in our channels that affect our mind. So we start with this practice by bringing our, closing off our left nostril with our first finger, close off the left nostril and inhale through the right. So imagine as we're inhaling, that energy is going up through the right red channel. It's going down the back of the channel, back of the body, and it's going in and actually moving through the white channel. Goes into the blue, but goes back into the white, and we exhale through the left nostril. What we're doing here is clearing the left side of the body, that left channel. So we inhale very long, slow, kind of deep into the belly breaths, but not pushing, just where it's comfortable. Sort of long, slow, deep inhalation. And visualize that any kind of obstacle, irritation gets exhaled on the exhalation, and it goes through that white channel and clears the white channel so it becomes more vibrant. So we do that 3 times. Then we move over to the other side and we close off the opposite nostril, the right nostril, inhaling through the left, and we're clearing now this right red channel and exhaling, you know, we inhale through the white one and exhale through the red. So we're actually clearing the energy in the right channel, the red channel. Do 3 times. And now we clear the central channel, inhaling twice through the white and red channel through both nostrils. And then it goes into the blue central channel and exhales and clearing that central channel. So again, as we exhale, I also feel that whatever irritation, agitation, whatever challenge is coming up in the mind, but exhaling that on the out breath. Imagining that all the 3 channels become more vibrant and bright, just the wind and mind are clearly flowing through them. And just take a moment to feel the effect of that practice. How does your mind feel compared to the beginning after doing that practice? More space, more lightness in the body and mind. In that space, think about your motivation for the class this evening. So part of your meditation, once we prepare the body and mind, is then to try and clarify or going to bring about motivation in our mind for our practice. So there's definitely a reason why we are attending the class. So think about that for a moment, clarify it in your mind. So meditation is very much in this tradition in Buddhism. It's starts to become like a transformation of our motivation for life. The more we understand, as we started to delve into in the first module, mind and its potential, the more we start to recognize that we have the potential to change our mind from negative states, anger, fear, strong desires, attachment, jealousy, things that disturb the mind. The more we recognize we have the potential to change those states of mind within ourselves and connect with our potential for enlightenment. And we recognize there's a path that can guide us to this fully developed state of wisdom and compassion. Then the more, our motivation starts to shift for life, not just about this life and some peace in this life, but also about bringing about within ourselves some sort of transformation, gradually transforming our mind into wisdom, compassion, into the path to enlightenment, not just for ourselves, but for all beings. So each time we enter into motivation, we try just even to touch upon this motivation of bodhicitta that you're going to hear again and again as we go through the classes and modules. Not just the meditation and our practice being about our own spiritual development, but as much as possible for our practice to benefit others. Our sitting practice, our contemplation practice, our listening to teaching practice, everything, trying to get this kind of universal sense of responsibility that my meditation, my practice, my life is to, as much as possible to be a service to others. So may this practice, this meditation, this class, not just be about my own personal transformation, but also the transformation of my mind, so it becomes more beneficial for all beings. Which basically means awakening our minds on the path to enlightenment. So just try to hold that thought that this class, this meditation, benefit all living beings. Place that thought in your mind. You don't have to feel it deeply, but we just place that thought there like a seed, It's a seed of bodhicitta, wanting to benefit others. So with that mind of bodhicitta, now we're going to do 5 minutes of what we call placement meditation. Or we can just say mindfulness, being mindful of the breath, placing our mind on an object to start to settle the mind more deeply, again, away from the senses, to settle the mind on one object. So bring your awareness to the tip of the nostrils. You can either actually bring your awareness there, or you can bring your awareness to the abdomen, the rising and falling of the abdomen. So again, if you have a lot of mental energy or activity in the head, sometimes bringing the object of concentration to the abdomen is more helpful to keep our energy grounded in the body and to not get thrown away, captured by thoughts as quickly. So choose one of those places. And we're simply going to try to rest and place, as we say, just place, just like you place gently but firmly, place like tea on the table, you know. We're going to place our mind or awareness on the breath at either of those points. Or you can say it's like when we place an anchor, when there's a boat and they anchor the boat. So the anchor kind of holds the boat. So we want to use the breath and the nostril of the abdomen area to anchor us, anchor awareness inward. So make a determination. How we start this meditation. So always try to make a determination for the next 5 minutes. As much as possible, I'm going to try and keep my awareness on one of these places to help develop some level of concentration. When I find myself getting caught with thoughts, I'll simply realize that and bring the mind back to the breath. Okay, so let's do this for 5 minutes. Okay, so just slowly come out of the meditation. So no matter how difficult sometimes a meditation is, it's always good to just rejoice. At least we try to do a little bit of just settling the mind on an object, trying to bring our awareness more inward, working on our mind. So how many of you, is that the first time you've done a meditation like that? Can we do hands or how do we do? Maybe you can say something in the chat. How does that work? What's the best way to do it? I'm just curious if that's the first time anyone's done that type of meditation before. Anyone, you could put your hand up if it is. Oh, Gus. Yep, see Gus.
Oh,
If everyone else.
no, I've done it.
Yeah,
Yes.
most of us have done before. Okay, well, that's good.
Yes,
That's
we
good.
have. I have done before.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Okay, great. And I know some of the rest of you have as well. So anyway, that's just, yeah, so so we didn't have time for that one today. But anyway, I did touch a little bit on last week and said that we would start with some kind of meditation. So typically, when we go to a meditation class, Buddhist meditation class for the first time, whether it's this tradition or other traditions, generally you tend to be doing some kind of mindfulness, breathing, object style concentration meditation. That's usually the first one that we're introduced to. And it's interesting because actually that's a very hard meditation for most of us, to really be able to develop some kind of concentration. But it's certainly a good start. I think generally, in this tradition, whether we're new or we're a more seasoned practitioner, we always start with some kind of a basic breathing or concentration or what we call placement meditation, just to bring our awareness inward, as I say, to the mental consciousness, our mind, that abides more in the center of our heart. We want to bring our awareness away from the senses when we're meditating. So that's always a sort of preliminary, no matter what other type of meditation you're going to be doing, we always start with this type of, settling the mind meditation. And whether you continue with that because you want to develop more concentration, or you move on to other types of meditation, it's a very good sort of foundation or start to preparing the mind for meditation. But anyway, as we move into the class, we will go into a wee bit more on that type of meditation, because there's different types of meditation in this in this tradition. Concentration or placement is one type that we'll go over a little bit more tonight. So where we finished off last week, just giving a sort of more general overview of meditation, because the class is called How to Meditate, So also we want to get clear, well, what is the definition of meditation? So again, a few of us will know this already, but I always find it very, very helpful to remind myself. So the Tibetan term for meditation, gom, means to, so they use the expression gom, but actually its literal meaning is to become familiar. What arises in our mind is what we are most familiar with, right? If when someone treats us unkindly or disrespectfully, we can, if we're familiar with getting hurt or upset or angry with that's how we'll respond. Because that's what we're more familiar with. So the purpose of meditation actually is really to become more familiar with positive states of mind. So we want to, what meditation's all about, what spiritual practice, what our Dharma practice is all about, is recognizing unhealthy states of mind and cultivating the opposite, cultivating that which creates happiness. Now, again, it's very fundamental, but it's a deep inward process is really being able to do that, really being able to see what states of mind are creating disturbances for us. Really being able to recognize we might not have huge amounts of anger, but we have irritation, most of us, yeah? There's things that set us off. Even though we don't express it verbally, there's a sense of irritation or anger that can come up. Maybe there's a sense of strong attachment or desire towards certain people that actually disturb our mind, So what we're trying to do in meditation is become less familiar with the states of mind that disturb the mind. It's trying to what the real process is recognizing, really through our meditation, creating a sort of deeper peace, a deeper sense of space in our mind, is to become familiar with states of mind that are not benefiting us, that are not serving us. Once we really have a sort of more inner feeling and understanding of how anger destroys our life, it destroys our friendships with others. It makes people uncomfortable and it makes us unhappy. The more we get to feel that and realizing it our being, the more energy we will have to want to meditate, to want to create the opposite of that in our lives, in our hearts and minds, to reduce that familiarity in certain situations we have for feeling that, and in our meditation to cultivate the opposite states of love, compassion, patience. And then eventually, I was speaking to a long-term Dharma practitioner just a few days ago, and she said that, she was having these challenges at an airport, and it was all, sometimes when you're at airports and when things start to go sideways and your flight's not leaving and there's all this stress, and it can be a lot of stress, if you're supposed to go a place, the flight's not leaving, they don't know when it's going to leave, there's all these weather obstacles or whatever, that's one situation where for a lot of people it can create not major anger, but sort of an anxiety, because you want to go somewhere, you've got a goal, you need to get there. And she said that she was really, genuinely happy with herself because even in the midst of having something like a 2 or 3 day delay in the end with her flight, she was able to stay calm and peaceful. She wasn't getting agitated. Now, again, this is the kind of thing that's really inspiring to see when we start to make small dents in our spiritual practice through our meditation, that we've able to, in certain situations where we would normally get angry, but because of the familiarity with our meditation on patience, on, whatever we're doing, purification, there starts to be a shift in the mind. That's just, even that small shift can bring so much inner peace and happiness. So when when we start to develop a meditation practice, it's very good to start to, pat yourself on the back, not in a proud way, but, really congratulate yourself. You see, usually in a situation with a person, I would get angry in that situation or distressed or anxious, and we don't. There's more peace because in that space of peace, we're able to make more constructive decisions, for sure. And also we don't harm others through our speech. So this is really what meditation is about. It's getting the crux of the matter of our mind, what is going on in our mind, that's not serving us. And what types of meditation do I need to do to shift that state of mind, that's not helping me. It's a bit like being an alcoholic, eventually an alcoholic realizes that place alcoholism isn't benefiting themselves, it's bringing more unhappiness and it's bringing happiness to the friends and family. And, so you meditate on that for a while and then you think about the benefits of going and getting some treatment, So actually we are addicted, it depends, each of us are different. But what the Buddha said is we're addicted to certain negative states of mind, not recognizing that they bring a deeper, disturbance to our mind that's really blocking our potential for happiness. So I would say, definition of meditation, is it meditation or medication? In a way, really, our meditation, what the Buddha would say in the context of the Four Noble Truths, the Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths. The truth is suffering, that we're all suffering. We haven't been able to overcome certain negative states of mind, certain types of mind that are not serving us, and the cause of suffering, he was talking about what the cause of suffering is. And then the First Noble Truth is suffering, just identifying suffering in our daily life. Identifying the cause of suffering, which mostly the Buddha said was karmas that we've created that don't bring about happiness, and delusion, so deluded or kind of, as I say, disturbed states of mind. As we mentioned, anger is a really obvious one. We know how it impacts our lives, and certainly when we're around angry people, how it makes us feel, There's also attachment, strong levels of attachment, which then bring about anger, grasping or clinging to objects or people that bring about stress, anxiety, and even states of anger. And the deeper one is ignorance, grasping at true existence, which again, that's more difficult to recognize in our mind as a beginner. So we want to deal with the grosser ones that we see are disturbing our mind. As we sift away at those in our meditation practice, then we're able to see the more underlying causes of why we had anger and attachment in the first place. So the third noble truth is that we can free ourselves. The mind, our being, our consciousness has the potential to liberate ourselves for these advantageous states of mind, temporary states of mind, and the truth of the path. So the truth of the path, the fourth noble truth, is really the medication that the Buddha taught for us, We see the Buddha as the doctor. Many of you have heard this analogy before, but, again, whether we're new or whether we're longer-term practitioners, it's a very important analogy because it reminds us of the purpose of our spiritual practice. The Buddha's the teacher. He's not an all-knowing God that we can't reach, an external being that's beyond us. He achieved himself his full awakened state of enlightenment, and he taught us the path. The Dharma is the medication that we need to take, the spiritual teachings. And again, meditation being becoming more and more familiar, cultivating the habits of positive states of mind, patience instead of anger. That, as I say, it's one of the bigger ones, So just using our meditation as a kind of antidote to thinking about, our anger, attachment, pride, maybe if that's a big one. So using meditation to gradually reduce that. So trying to be clear in our mind what the purpose of our meditation is. As it says here, meditation or medication. So healing our mind of suffering and transforming it into everlasting peace and happiness. Becoming familiar with mental states that cause happiness and reducing those which cause suffering. And this is possible because we all have this Buddha potential, this Buddha nature. We have the seed of enlightenment, which actually goes from life to life, our most subtle consciousness. So more in the tantric teachings, we talk about the nature of the subtle consciousness. But basically, we have this deepest subtle nature of ourselves that travels from life to life. And on that basis, that is the basis for our enlightenment. That's our basis for being able to purify and cleanse our mind of grosser states of mind that are temporary states. Again, like our angers, our fears, attachment, pride, jealousy. These are all, as the Buddha taught, temporary states of mind that we've just become familiar with, and we just need to spend time through our practice to reduce them and eliminate for the mind. So again, in the context of, if you're anything like myself, when I first went to, I think I mentioned last week, I met the Dharma in India. So my first motivation on going to the 10-day course that I attended in one of your centres in India in Dharamsala was just to meditate. I just wanted to meditate to be more peaceful. And I think most of us in the West, I would say, come with that motivation. Just to, find more inner peace, to kind of get to know yourself a little bit more. How can you get more clarity in your mind, be maybe a bit better person? These are all very good motivations, preliminary motivations. But what I discovered, and what we all discover as we start to practice, is that we need a little bit more. And I was quite surprised when we did the first 10-day course, because I thought we'd predominantly be meditation. And I think a lot of people who go to these 10-day courses, whether they come here, because Vajrapani Institute, where I am, is it's a retreat centre, so we run introductory courses. And the same as we do in India and Nepal, when people have more space, they're able to attend 10-day courses or a 1-month course. And there's always a lot of teaching. And I think some people feel like, why is there so much teaching? I just want to meditate. Sometimes that's the feedback, But in this particular tradition of Buddhism, and it's just generally, in any tradition of Buddhism, in order to be able to meditate, we do need to get some, we need to get some meat in the bones for our meditation, We need to be able to listen. So our meditation, in many ways, how we should approach our spiritual development is more like thinking about meditation in the context of complete Dharma practice. That's one limb, it's one aspect of Dharma, but it's not everything. Just meditation alone without input. And I mean, we get constant input. We get some input on what to meditate on. We do that for a while. Then we have to listen again and get more input, So there's three limbs, three tools, three aspects that we need to sort of embrace or embody in our spiritual practice. If we really want to get some inner development going, really want to work on our stuff, be a better person, even create some positive seeds and imprints on the path to enlightenment, really think about what that is, then it's very important to do all three of these. To listen. So here we have in the corner here in this image, this is a great yogi. Some of you are familiar with him. He's very inspiring. One of the most inspiring, if not the most inspiring yogi in the Tibetan tradition, Milarepa. Everybody finds out about Milarepa when they first meet Buddhism. He was the incredible yogi who first of all, he devoted many years to serving his guru Marpa, building, I think over 13 years, he had to rebuild a 9-story house 3 times because earlier in his life, he had killed, he got into a wrong path, a wrong guru, and he learned some black magic so he could kill. His mother asked him to, they were sort of, his family their wealth was stolen from them by other family members, by an aunt when they were very young. And so the mother wanted revenge, so she encouraged him to go away and study black magic. And he did that, and he had the power to be able to, destroy a village, and he killed many people. Then he generated great regret for that, incredible regret. And he went off to seek another spiritual guru, a virtuous one. And he found Marpa, Guru Marpa, who basically, put him through incredible hardships to purify his karma of killing. Not just karma that life, but many lifetimes of karma. We all have to purify. But anyway, he was able to, build this 9-story building 3 times, great hardship. And then eventually he was given permission to go into the mountains. It's just in a nutshell. And he spent years in meditation, So this is and he achieved enlightenment through in great ascetics. And Mila means the cotton-clad one. He was famous for wearing just a very thin sheet or garment. And meditating, in the depths of the mountains for many, many years and achieving enlightenment. And now he produced these incredible songs and poetry that are very inspiring to read, especially when one's in retreat, really expressing the essential points on the path, on how to meditate. So yeah, he's one of the most famous saints in Tibet. So if you ever have the chance to read his life story, it's incredibly inspiring. So anyway, here he is in the mudra of listening, So eventually what this kind of signifies that, through listening to the Dharma, eventually what you hear is everything sounds like Dharma. Everything becomes like spiritual teaching, That's the result or the wisdom that comes through listening. One of the wisdoms that comes through listening. So whatever sound Milarepa heard, it taught him some way. It was a teaching on the Dharma, it reminded him of the Dharma. It sounded like mantra. So there's 3 types of wisdom that we develop. A wisdom through listening. It's very important, each one on our spiritual path, listening, being able to listen, our ears capture the sound. And I mean, we do this all the time. We listen to, we might listen to something on the news. We might, when we're at school, we listen to, the teacher. Then we have to go home and reflect and then maybe write something or, reflection can be memorizing, it can be reading. It can be just doing some mental reflection and contemplation. So it's not these things aren't something we're unfamiliar with. And again, we need to just apply this process of listening and reflecting. Certainly these 2 we're familiar with, Even meditation to a point, Sometimes we can get very single-pointed about something in our mind after listening and reflecting. It's not always helpful. Sometimes it is, you know. But so to a point, we do some meditation. When we get really, you know, we kind of reach a conclusion about something, it is because obviously we've reflected on it for some time. So these three limbs are something that it's very important, you know. So how to meditate in that context, we also have to think about how to listen and how to reflect. And then when we develop the art of listening well, and mainly it's through, you know, if we really, you know, being able to, you know, keep our attention on something when someone's talking, you know, having that motivation to be able to really listen. Reflecting can happen after, you know, after you've heard something. Again, just mentally as you're going around your day, a great amount of reflecting in this tradition is through reading, you know, reading about the topic. And then again, just thinking about it in your mind. And then again, even meditation doesn't need to necessarily be on the cushion, but it's certainly a deeper level of contemplation where that knowledge that we're trying to gather within ourselves is going more and more deeply into our mental continuum. And it starts to become a way of being for us, a way of how we are. And it's bringing about some inner transformation through the meditation. But again, without knowing what to meditate on and reflecting on it, our meditation won't go very deep. So yeah, so that, again, this is what the three limbs, the three aspects we need to, you know, really think about in the whole context of our practice. And again, in terms of Dharma or meditation, so I'm trying to bring it about, it's not just meditation, but again, our Dharma practice. We'll hear this a lot as you move through the modules, you know, what is our Dharma practice? So the general meaning of Dharma actually is to hold. So if someone is in danger of falling down, if someone's suffering, is there a high cliff and someone is in danger of falling down, then what we want to do, you know, if we have the ability, we want to save them, we want to protect them. So what Dharma is doing is it's holding us up from suffering. It's saving us, protecting our mind from mental states that cause unhappiness. Even if we don't like the term suffering right now, that's a lot to swallow. We can think we have dissatisfactory states of mind, disturbed states of mind. So put it like that, you know. So our meditation practice, our Dharma practice involving listening and reflection meditation is that which kind of holds us up, supports us, and eventually purifies us from suffering, from negative states of mind, from non-virtuous states of mind. So when I first heard that, I found that very helpful, you know, to think about what the word Dharma means. And again, to think about that when we're going into meditation. Okay, now I'm doing my meditation. So many longer term practitioners call it their Dharma practice, you know, because again, it's in the context of having listening to teachings, reflected on them. And now I feel like, oh yeah, maybe I can practice more, you know, I can practice that on the cushion. There's a few chats here. I'm just going to have a look. Is there some questions? How do I? Okay. Let's just do a couple of questions. What's the name of the yoga? Okay, Milarepa, we got that. Good. Thank you, Bea. I did eventually get to the name. Okay, so yeah, so meditation, just a little bit about, again, thinking in meditation in a broader context, you know, Dharma practice in a broader context. So now getting a little bit more into the nuts and bolts again in meditation, what do we do? You know, where our body. So our body can be quite difficult sometimes, you know. We want to meditate, and especially as you get older. But even when you're younger, I mean, I think I shared this a lot. I don't know if I shared it the last time, but I'll share it again. When I, you know, as a newbie to meditation in my 20s, I mean, I'd never sat in the lotus posture before. You know, we never, as Westerners, I mean, maybe now more younger generation do, I don't know, but in my generation, we didn't generally sit and cross-leg much. We sat on chairs. You know, we might sit on the floor for short periods of time, but it wasn't familiar for us in our culture to sit cross-legged. I mean, when I went to Asia, even in the houses in Nepal, you know, often the kids sit on the floor cross legs. It's just natural for them, you know, but it's not for us mostly. So then we meet meditation. It's like, oh my gosh, how do I get into this posture? You know, it's not easy. So definitely, you know, I know Bay's a yoga teacher. So she helps people to kind of get their body, you know, a little bit more. The body's one of the tools we need for meditation as well. We know we've got it. We can't ignore it, you know. So certainly to kind of get your body in a place where you can meditate. Because as I say, when I first went to the meditation course in Dharamsala, I mean, we had to sit for the morning meditation was 1 hour of watching your breath. And I was in absolute pain, you know, physically, mentally. I'd never done anything like that before. And it was like, okay, watch your breath for an hour, off you go. It's like, you know, it's like, I was like, this is meditation. I mean, it's enough to put you off, you know. I think maybe we got like 20 minutes, half an hour, and then we got a couple of minutes, but we, you know, nobody really wanted to look like they were struggling. We were all quite young. So everybody wanted to look like we were sitting there okay. But I know after about 20 minutes, half an hour, my legs, my knees, my hips, everything was in pain, you know. So I found that meditation that morning, it made a big impression on me because the rest of the day was okay. It was more teachings and you could move around and, you know, but that one you felt like, you know, the meditation teacher was for the Thai tradition. So we had to be really upright and straight and look like you were watching your breath. And so it wasn't easy, you know, the posture. So but definitely where there's certain aspects. So right now we can't be expected to be able to sit in the full upright position for long periods of time, you know. So, but there is aspects of the posture that we do need to take care of, and we need to be aware of. And I touched on these, well, mostly in this meditation in the beginning, we did the body scan, you know. But as we were doing the body scan, we're kind of what you can do with that, you know, I suggest if those of you would like to, who are already doing meditation, it's great, you're aware of this. And for those of you who want to develop your meditation, if you can this week, do what we did in the beginning, go through and do a scan of the body, but at the same time, check these positions of the posture. So you do have a handout that I gave out. Isabella sent you the handout written by Rinpoche on the points of the posture. So I just copied and pasted the main points on here. So, of course, the best way is a full lotus. Well, I've been practicing for many years. I still don't do the full lotus. Sorry to say. But I do, you know, I can manage half, you know, sort of half lotus or cross-leg position. I do know if I did more yoga, probably I would manage, you know, eventually to get there. But, you know, the main thing is I think with the legs need to be firm, whether you're on a chair or a cushion. The legs need to be in a comfortable and firm position to support the upper part of the body. Because the main point, the main really place that's most important is point number 3, you know, the keeping of the back straight. Because as soon as you start to slouch forward or back, you'll see that the mind just drifts off into somewhere else. So there's an inner kind of balance that we need to find. And I find that doing the scanning, getting more into the body, and then doing this basic breathing, 9-round breathing, can really help to kind of just bring us into our posture. Then a few breaths, whether it's just a few breaths, and then you go into the, you know, a few minutes of mindfulness of the breath to go into the main body of the meditation. But that kind of helps to align your posture, find your place, your sort of happy place, your firm place, but relaxed place of being able to feel like you can get into the meat of some meditation without getting over distracted. We will get distracted, that's a reality. We can't expect too much too soon, which I'm going to go into in a minute. But, you know, gradually, I mean, everything's about the whole thing in this tradition. Everything we do in life, you know, Bay would say the same about yoga. It's about developing familiarity in your practice. And familiarity comes by doing it again and again and again. It's repetition. And through that repetition, our practice deepens. our knowledge of ourselves, our awareness, our knowing of our own mind, becomes more clear. And actually we start to develop a friendship with ourselves, instead of a separateness for ourselves, with our thoughts and feelings. We get closer to them, and we get closer to, we just become more friendly and happy and content as we develop in our practice. So similarly, in our posture, we need to kind of become friends with our body, What's possible with our posture? What can we manage in these points? So we do need to manage some, as I say, with the spine and keeping that not straight as in uncomfortable, but a straightness. And the main straightness is actually finding where, in this visualization of the breathing, where is that central channel? We might not feel it completely, but we might start to feel this kind of more inner body that we have. And that's what needs to be straight and upright and alert. And then we can, get some meditation, a little bit of meditation done. I would say for beginners, keeping the eyes closed is probably better because it's very easy to get distracted. The jaw, another one, when you do the benefit of doing that, the practice of going through the points of the body and breathing, releasing, relaxing, is that we then release the jaw and the teeth, keep that all relaxed. And we bring awareness and breath and vitality and freshness into the body by doing that, as we do when we do a yoga practice. It vitalizes the body. Yoga, Qigong, Tai Chi, if we can do some of that, it's great, or go for a walk before. Of course, in this tradition, there's practices called prostrations, which we're not really going to hit upon in this module, but they're also a very good way to really bring clarity to the mind. You do some prostrations, you sit down and the mind's like very, very lucid and clear. So tip of the tongue touching the back of the upper teeth, again, just so the saliva's not coming down. That's particularly important when we're doing more concentration style meditation. As we go into mantra, or reflections, maybe not as quite important. The other one that tends to happen if we're not aware of the spine is that the neck will start to kind of go forward or off to the side or, like this. So we do want to try and keep from from here, it's almost like we try and imagine there's a string attached to the crown of our head, and we're almost like a puppet, being juggled by the string. So the string's up here, and then we just naturally, the spine kind of, goes straight and the chin slightly tucked under. So we're not falling back like this. So we just want to keep in our practice, for time to time, even when we're meditating, go back and see where's the posture. If we've really went off in our breathing meditation, go back to the posture, go back to the body, bring the mind back. It grounds you into the body, then go back to the breath or go back to whatever object of concentration you have. Because most likely we've lost our posture, then we've lost our, our concentration or any kind of topic of the meditation. So just go back and adjust yourself, and that kind of centers you again. And you can carry on with a little bit more meditation. More chats. Let's see what's going on here. Feminine, masculine. Okay. Is there a meaning for having the right hand on top of the left hand? Yeah, I think it's more what Bay said, Generally speaking, in this tradition, the wisdom side is more associated with the left side of the body. And the compassion side is more, our compassion or our method, the methods to develop compassion and bodhicitta are associated with the right side of the body. So this is signifying that actually without wisdom, we can't really develop compassion without the support of wisdom. So it could be for that reason as well. I think there could be more reasons to regarding the subtleties of our more subtle body, the subtleties of that, how they align up. And actually, it depends. Sometimes there's other mudras you can be using for different types of meditation. But certainly for concentration, this is kind of where we settle into. And the tips of the thumbs also, they join around about the area of the navel. And that's all, again, the area where all these channels are. They rest on the lap. And when you see in the picture of these three channels, you know, they meet around about the area where those two thumbs meet, you know, when we have this posture. Can you see here? I'm trying. In my image, you know, the right and top of the left, and the two thumbs meet and they're rested on the lap. So again, there's a place in our psychic body, as we saw in the image, where the three channels meet. So it's around about that area. So it's bringing some sort of energy and focus there to help, again, just draw. There's some more powerful chakras and energy there. Again, just helping to center and draw our everything inward, our awareness and concentration inward. Does that help? Yep. So, how to meditate? So, daily meditation practice. What time are we on now? Time goes so fast. So
Sorry,
it's okay.
Angie.
We're still okay. Yeah. Thank you.
We have a question from Damien here in the chat before you
Yes.
go
Yep.
into
Damien.
he says, how important is it to cross your legs properly? Does right go above left?
For the lotus posture, well, the interlock. Do you mean for the lotus position or just generally half lotus?
Either. Probably half lotus.
So I think it might depend on the individual. So for myself, I usually put my right over the left, the right on top of the left, but I haven't seen any specifics about which side of the, you know, half lotus, whether it's the right over the left or the left over the right. I think it's probably dependent on the individual, what makes for more comfortable. And sometimes you might notice that either anyway, as the legs tire, you might need to shift that around a little bit. You know, you might do the right on the left for a while and the left over the right. So I think it's mainly right now at this level, it's about finding the position that supports your spine, supports the upper part of the body, and supports your mind to kind of stay engaged in the meditation. And I think as you develop in your practice, you'll find your comfort zone, you know, whether you do the right or the left or the right, you'll find when your mind engages more easily in the meditation, just kind of locks into the meditation as you develop your posture. Because really posture is developing as much as you're developing your mind. They're coming together, you know. And you have to find that as you more and more develop your meditation practice, what posture is working for you. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Don't get too, I would advise at the moment, I mean, it's good to try and work on your posture. Working on your posture, again, is really just, both things come together, working on your meditation, your posture. These all take time to develop, you know, and as I say, as your mind develops, your posture will develop, and you'll find this kind of way where this is just working for me, you know. This is where I can really find my place to meditate for a certain period of time, you know. And it can be sitting, you know, it can be sitting on a chair and you find that place, you know. Sometimes over some years, some are practitioners, you know, they've been on a cushion for many years, then they have to they have to go on a chair because they can't sit there anymore. So then they have to move and shift their posture and again find their place on the chair where you can meditate. So again, the development of your posture, it does take some time. All of these things take some time. So I would and encourage you to try things out for a while, you know, and see what posture is really going to work for you. But certainly keeping the main points of the posture. But in terms of legs, you know, where you have your legs, how you have your legs, there's no question if you can get into full lotus, the mind goes very easily, engages quickly into practice, you know, it becomes very, very clear. But half lotus even helps, but, you know, we have to work with what we have, you know, and be content with that. And if we can develop a better posture through yoga, through Tai Chi, through some general, stretching exercise, that's wonderful. That's best case scenario. So daily meditation practice. So we'll start with the environment. So mainly, for those of us who are at home, I'm very fortunate to live in a meditation center. So I have no excuses. No excuses not to meditate, not to practice. But when we live at home, it's very important. It's so important. I can't stress how much to create a dedicated place for your practice. So some of us might have that already. Some of us, it might be more difficult if we've got children, we've got a partner. I had one when I was living some years ago, I lived up in Washington and I taught a small group there. And one of the ladies, she was very dedicated to doing it. She already had like 3 young children. She had no, she shared a room with her husband. She had no extra room in the house. So she would get up in the morning. I was so inspired by her, She got up in the morning and she had a ladder, larder, in the kitchen. You have this cupboard where you keep foods. It was a walk-in kitchen food cupboard. So she created a little shelf with a sort of portable altar and a little meditation space. And that's where she got up in the morning from 5:30 to 6 before the kids got up for school, and she meditated there. So she made it work, Quiet space, dedicated for her practice, at least for that time of the day. And, she was able to do that for some time. I don't know if she's still doing it, but certainly while her children were growing up. So that's how she managed to make her living situation work. So some of us are very fortunate, maybe we live on our own, so it's easy, but if we do live with partners or, we have children, we have to be skillful, we have to figure out a way because it is important, not without being weird with the rest of the family or strange or too tight, but just to generally try and find that space where you can meditate, Has anybody any questions with that? Anybody find any challenges with that? If they're thinking about a space, if they don't have one already? Well, that's good. Then you all have one then, maybe, yeah? So another part of, something else we need to do is, so, we want to meditate, so one good thing is, where are we going to meditate? Okay, I've found a space in my house where I'm going to meditate. How long are we going to meditate for? So generally, again, if we're quite new to meditation, it's good. And most of us, if we work, we don't have a lot of time in the morning anyway. For most of us, morning time's usually the best. Most of us have a fresher mind in the morning. So it's also good to have a good idea how long you're going to meditate for. You not just go, I'm going to meditate, and after 5 minutes you get fed up, so you just leave your cushion. No, I've decided that I'm going to meditate for 20 minutes. So that doesn't mean just sitting on your cushion watching your breath for 20 minutes. That can be, again, we're going through what does a meditation practice look like, but very good to really have a clarity, make a decision in your mind. Okay, I'm going to start with, if we're not meditating already, or if we are, we're doing 5 minutes. Okay, maybe after this class, we're going to make it 10 minutes a day, or 15 minutes a day, or 20 minutes a day. So getting very clear how long and what time of the day we're going to meditate for. It's very important. It's like all about setting your intention, and creating this habit, this familiarity. So it becomes like getting up in the morning. We know we have to brush our teeth, we have to wash our face, we need to put our clothes on, we need to do. Meditation becomes like that. It's not something you think about anymore. It's just something you do. That's what we want meditation to be like. And some of you might have created that habit already. But that's ideally what we want to do, not just like, will I meditate, won't I meditate, do. So in order to create a habit, it's like going to the gym or going to yoga, we need to make a firm determination, then commit for a certain period of time. And we're going to do it for how long? So similarly, meditation's like that, we need to make a commitment that, okay, for the next, month, I'm going to get up at this time, I'm going to meditate for 10 minutes. And maybe after 2 weeks, if it's going well, I'm going to meditate for 15 minutes. And eventually, that'll become a habit. As again, a month, it's a good amount of time. But again, after 2 or 3 days, if you drop the habit, it's not easy. Then we really need to set another intention again, So, but we do want meditation as we discover more and more, we have this potential to change our mind, to change our life, then we want to meditate, we will want to. So this is just a little funny. I saw this on Facebook last week. Somebody posted it. So there can be 2 meanings to that. He's off somewhere for 5 minutes mentally and he'll be back in 5. But the other meaning is, okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to meditate for 5 minutes. And if I live with partners or friends or whatever, you're just going to say, I need this space for 5-10 minutes. Could you allow me this time? Please, give me 10 minutes because I'm going to meditate and, like that, if you could not disturb me or whatever, I mean, if you've got children, it's difficult, but either way, setting this intention to do a certain amount of time and really creating the space and environment for that. Is there another, see in the chat, there's another question, is it? I cover the Buddha statue when I sleep. Okay, Ladin, yep. So generally, having a Buddha statue in your room and sleeping is okay. That's a good point, though. You don't have to do that. What we don't want to do with Buddha images is to point our feet. So ideally, when we're talking about altar setup, I have my altar. I mean, for years as a nun, most of us monastics, we tend to have one room and everything is in the room. I mean, we might not eat in there. There's often a communal kitchen. I'm quite fortunate that I have more than one room now, but for many years I've always had one room. So all my holy objects, my altar, everything's always been in my bedroom, where I sleep, where I meditate, where I study, wherever, So covering the images, is it Laden? Am I saying that correct? Laden? No. So it's not.
Sorry, I had problem to remove myself.
Okay.
But it's Ladan.
Ladan. Okay,
Yes.
Ladan. Okay. Ladan, yeah.
Ladan.
It didn't quite sound right like Laden. I thought that sounds a bit not quite right, yeah. Ladan. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's a good talk, it's a good question or a good comment, just to elaborate on that, because we are going into setting up our altar. So no, yes, so you don't when you sleep, I don't cover all my altar. That's okay. But what we don't want to do in our room is have our altar at the bottom of our bed or a place where we're pointing our feet. So in the, especially this is an Eastern tradition. So in the West, it's not really part of our culture, but nonetheless, we kind of embrace this part. I mean, it is the lower part of our body, and it's not the most sweet smelling part of our body is the feet, generally. So, as a sign of respect, and it's not really that the Buddha needs us to respect us, but we as we develop on the path and we start to the kind of the teachings, the Dharma practice starts to take seed within us. We start to feel that and feel the benefits of the practice more and more. That's when our respect for the Dharma starts to really develop and grow. So naturally, we'll feel that we don't want to put. It's Ladan, you've already done. You felt like, well, I don't want to sleep in the presence of the Buddha. But generally, the main etiquette around the statues are not putting them at the bottom of the bed where we put our lower doors, our feet are pointing. And the other aspect is ideally not having the holy objects in a room where you're, how would you say, having sex, Don't know another way to put it, but so if you have a partner, it's better to not have your altar in the room when, obviously for those reasons. But other than that, sleeping is not regarded as disrespectful unless you really feel you want to do that. That's okay. There's no fault, but these are the main 2 sort of conditions, So if you have a partner, then best to have your altar, not in your bedroom, but somewhere else. So the main aspect, so in line with creating an environment for our meditation, again, in this tradition, what's really so important to help inspire and support our mind, it's like our toolkit for our meditation practice, is to have images of representations or images of the body, the speech, and the mind of the Buddha. Again, as we might not be thinking, oh, I want to achieve enlightenment, I want to get the body, speech, and mind of the Buddha. That might not be our motivation right now. Again, maybe our motivation, your main motivation, like me when I first met the Dharma, was I just want to meditate and find a bit more peace and clear my mind. That's okay. But in the context of understanding that we can achieve, we have this potential to achieve enlightenment, which means the enlightened body, speech, and mind of the Buddha. You know, then why not, you know, have these representations, because they support our mind, you know. And as we go through the Discovering Buddhism modules, we'll start to realize and maybe recognize this potency, this potential we have, and maybe even generate more and more of a wish to achieve that state. So for practice, you know, we really, really need, I mean, whatever you're doing, you know, when we go to a yoga class, we go to a certain environment where there's a room and there's mats and there's this and that, you know, and sometimes even peaceful images. Sometimes there's like, you know, deities or, you know, images of water and everything, you know, to help support, make our mind more peaceful, you know. So, or, you know, anything that we're trying to do, there's usually an environment there, you know. So this is the environment we're trying to create here, an environment that helps our mind to support our mind on the path. So if we have an altar, what we want to have, so the representation of the body, obviously here we have an image here, but you can have, you know, if you do have a statue or a tanka or a painting, that's wonderful, of the Buddha, or there's many other types of Buddhas, you know, there's a Buddha compassion, medicine Buddha, many, many ones. But, you know, to start off primarily with the image of the Buddha, we always usually have, no matter what other Buddhas and practices we might be doing, it's always very important, it's kind of fundamental to have an image of the Buddha. Because all the practices we do, whether they're Theravada practice, Mahayana practice, or even into the Vajrayana tantric practices, all these come from Shakyamuni Buddha. He's the founder. You know, he's our kind founder. So remembering, it's, you know, as we develop some more respect, devotion of the Buddha, we'll naturally want to have an image of the Buddha there, because that's our he's our main teacher, you know. That's who we're receiving these practices, these benefits from. And also by having an image of the Buddha and, you know, putting our palms together, just looking at the image of the Buddha, it gradually creates a cause for us to become like the Buddha every time we look at the image. I mean, we can see when we look at the image of the Buddha, he embodies this sense of peace, and that's he's kind of almost universal now. I mean, how many people have got a Buddha in their garden these days? You know, quite a lot of people, even those you wouldn't expect, you know. So he's kind of getting this universal reputation, you know, of being this being of peace, you know. So for us, definitely to have a representation of the body, representation of the speech. So again, this would be, here, this is a sutra, you know. A sutra is a direct teaching that the Buddha gave when he was in this world 2,500 years ago. It's a teaching that he taught at that time that's been translated now into English. So the way we have a sutra or some other text or practice, but some sort of oral word that's come down from the Buddha, a representation of the teachings on our altar. That represents his speech. And again, by having that on our altar, if we want to make offerings like water bowl offerings or flower offering, or maybe we put a candle there, again, every time we offer, it's creating the same kind of seed or imprint on our mind to achieve the speech of the Buddha, enlightened speech, free from all harm and the only benefits. It's amazing. And then here we have a stupa. So the stupa is, it symbolizes enlightened mind. All the different aspects, the different parts of the stupa. Again, this is all teaching in itself, but there are different aspects and all the stairs and the aspect sides. They all symbolize kind of the path to enlightenment. So that's embodied in the image of the Buddha. And it kind of symbolizes, it is embodied the awakening mind of the Buddha. So again, these can all just be photocopies. They can be images. They can be actual little stupas and sutras and texts, wherever you're at now to start that. But what you'll find is that, you know, as we have more and more images on our altar, that place really, really kind of creates an environment. It starts to create this environment for meditation. It supports our meditation practice. Another question? Would an altar in the attic or garage be okay? Yes, it would be fine. The main thing, bringing up the other, yeah, it's good that you asked this, because wherever our altar is, it needs to be clean. So altar, attic or garage is fine as long as the surrounding area and where you're meditating is clean. Yeah? So again, additional items, just emphasizing. So this is my teacher, some of our teacher, Lama Zopa Rinpoche. So Rinpoche, even though he was a great, saint, holy being, great guru, great Lama, wherever he went, he had a portable altar. So this is, so never mind, someone who's already, in my view and in many, many beings' views, was a great holy being, maybe already enlightened, you could say. Definitely very far along the path, definitely what we call a bodhisattva. So, Rinpoche, for us, he very, very much emphasized the importance of what we call holy objects. So this is Rinpoche traveling over land somewhere, and beautiful mountain there as well. But this is Rinpoche, even wherever he went, Rinpoche's attendants, those who helped to, surrounding Rinpoche who took care, they always carried us what you call a portable altar. So this is Rinpoche in the car, and he's still got 3 deities there, he's still got a portable altar. So, if those beings are showing, somebody like that is showing the importance, then I think never mind for us, maybe we need. Even if we haven't developed maybe full faith in the Buddhist teachings, maybe we haven't taken refuge yet, but we need inspiring objects to help, and we need to create a nice environment where we want to go and sit and meditate, And the more we meditate there, the more energy, the more positive energy we create in that place. And the objects, what they also do is they help to hold the energy that you're creating in your meditation place. This is an example. Now, we're not expecting you to build an altar like this in your house. But this is the altar that I am in. Rinpoche had a house in California, in Aptos, Santa Cruz. And I lived there for some years. So this is the altar that I kind of took care of for many years. Myself, along with other Sangha. And it's actually more extensive than that, but this is at least some part of it. So again, here you can see there's a representation of the body, all the statues. And then on the top, along the top there, which you often see typically on a Tibetan altar, either text can be along the top of the altar or down the side. And they're both here. They're down the side, along the top. Then there's water bowl offerings. So you can make, again, a water bowl offering is how to do that's a little bit of a different class. We're not going to cover that in this module. But you can put some flowers there. Maybe if you buy some fruit, you can put it on your altar for a couple of days. Make an offering. When we make an offering, we say Om Ah Hom. Just put that there to offer to the Buddha. Then you can take it and have it later, We've got lights, flowers, incense. There's many, many things you can offer on your altar. And there's incredible benefits to making offerings. But if I get started on that, we'll never finish this class. So it's just giving you some suggestions. Again, this is another example of an altar that's, again, very, very extensive. We're not going to be able to do like that. But this is actually Rinpoche's holy body in Nepal. Babe is there recently in Rinpoche's room. So when Lama Zopa Rinpoche passed away, they are preserving the holy body. And so this is the place where the body's being preserved and taken care of for some time. And again, around all the body. So this initially was one of the rooms in Rinpoche's room at Kopan. And again, many, many images. There was always many offerings, lights and flowers and incense, and you can see some flowers on the side. So again, we can do as we can, but you'll notice as you make offerings, as you put it'll create a very conducive environment for your practice. And you certainly notice it. I mean, I think Susie would agree when you come to Vajrapani and you come in the Gompa, it's like, wow, you can feel the benefits of these holy objects, the statues, the stupas, you really feel how that's helping and supporting your mind. So we just do what we can, you know, try and do what you can. And again, if you've got any questions, or you need any help with your altar, you can always get in touch with me. I did give you my email address last night because that can go into a lot of detail that we're not going to cover in that amount in this class. So we've got more questions again. There's only one room available, but living with a partner, is it okay to place the Dharma books even when feet? We could, yeah, so Ladan, yeah, you can put your altar in the living room. The main thing is you can put your altar, you want to put your altar where you're going to meditate. It doesn't mean that you can't have an altar in your living room and then you meditate, but the main thing is where you're going to meditate, you want to have some kind of small altar. That's going to support and help and bring energy to your meditation. So if you're going to meditate in the living room, but if you're going to meditate in your bedroom, I would say put it there. But you have to avoid not having your feet pointing. So the other question is, well, I think in that situation, you could, if there's no other way, then you could put the Dharma books on a higher shelf. Yeah, you can put everything on a higher shelf. So your feet aren't pointing directly to the altar. That should work, Sabine. What about an outdoor space? Does it have to be under cover? No, not necessarily. I mean, also you can have your portable altar, you know, if you have a few images and, you know, you want to move around. Sometimes you have to go outside or inside. You can also do like that. As you saw with the image of Lama Zoparim, she had a few images, he had them in the car, you know. So if that's helpful for you, you can actually buy little portable altars online. They're little books that open and close, and within them there's like 3 images. And maybe for next week, I will try and see if I can find one and send the link in case anyone's interested. But we did used to sell them through FPMT, and that's also very helpful, you know, if you can't have your altar up all the time, or you have a, you know, limited space in your house, or you want to go outside. So you can definitely meditate inside or outside. Any other questions? Oh, because it's 8:30, sorry. Okay. Okay, so we did finish with some questions, that's good. So just to conclude, and we'll carry on next week from here. I want to conclude with the dedications, which are a little bit further on. I'm sorry, I missed them. We're back here. So just as we conclude, you know, with this discussion just about, you know, really creating that right environment, not the environment of our body through posture. The inner environment, a lot to do with that is our motivation, our intention and motivation. And then this sort of external environment, finding a peaceful place, calm place, and having some kind of altar, some kind of inspiring objects to support our meditation. So we just want to think about that more. Is there any way we can make more steps or strides with that, with what we already have? Or are we quite content with what we have already, with our environment for meditation, our outer and inner environment? And then for next week, if you can, see if you can do, if you don't already have a practice that kind of encompasses what we're doing, see if you can do some meditation, maybe to commit to 5 or 10 minutes of meditation, bringing in some of the points, you know, whether it's the 9-round breathing. I've sent you 2 handouts, you know, so that one of the handouts goes over the points of breathing meditation. See if you can do that, along with just being mindful of your motivation, you know, having this kind of universal motivation to benefit all beings, holding that as you go into the breathing. So see if you can make a commitment to do meditation, if not every day, but 2 or 3 times this week if you're not already doing it. And in that place, we dedicate all the positive energy of our class. So we'll just recite the first two in English. In fact, we'll recite everything in English. As we say, we always start our meditation with motivation and finish by dedicating or sealing our positive energy. So it kind of is directed in a certain way towards our own everlasting peace and happiness, the state of Buddha, and for all living beings to achieve that state as well. This is the direction we always want to make our dedications. Due to this virtue, may I quickly become a Guru Buddha and lead all transmigratory beings without exception to that state. May the precious supreme bodhicitta not yet born arise. May that arisen not decline, but increase more and more. And we always dedicate for the long life of our teachers. So His Holiness is really the upholder of the whole Dharma, the whole Buddha Dharma, all the entire teachings of the Buddha. So we always dedicate for his long life, you know, and for the long lives of any of our teachers or gurus, whoever they are, we can encompass them in this prayer. Incomparably kind and supreme Tenzin Gyatso, the wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, may you have a long life and may all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. Okay, thank you so much and enjoy your week. Enjoy your meditation.
Thank you, Middle Angie.
Okay, thank you. Good night. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.